Sitting on the GMT 360 platform shared with the Chevrolet Trailblazer and GMC Envoy, to start, with the Saab 97X coming later, as well as the Isuzu Ascender and, ultimately, the Bravada's direct replacement, the Buick Rainier, in 2004. The Bravada would feature many firsts for the Oldsmobile brand, including being the first time a light truck was offered by another GM brand other than Chevrolet or GMC since World War II. In addition, the third generation would be the first time a Bravada was available as rear-wheel drive, a first from Oldsmobile since the 1992 Custom Cruiser wagon. Lastly, with its inline six-cylinder, it was the first time the marque offered this engine configuration since the 1976 Omega. Another first, this was the first time a brand new model on a brand new platform was introduced just 48 hours before the announcement of the end of the parent company. The Bravada would be the last new Oldsmobile model. Our Bravada represents the first year of the new vehicles and was built at the Moraine Assembly Plant in Ohio in March of 2002. Sadly, 2 days after its introduction, GM announced the end of Oldsmobile would arrive in 2004, after a 107-year run. The third-generation Bravada was first introduced in 2001 and arrived in showrooms in February 2001.
Hello everyone. Today we are taking an in-depth walk-around look at this very nice and very well equipped 2002 Oldsmobile Bravada. This Bravada is painted in the absolutely stunning red jewel coat tinted clear coat metallic, and it features the pewter leather interior. Full pricing is shown on screen and a complete options list is in the description box below, so make sure you go over there and check that out.
Our Bravada is all-wheel drive with the SmartTrak full-time all-wheel drive system with the 373 rear axle ratio, and is equipped with a single-speed new Venture NV136 transfer case, shared with the AutoTrak system, which is fully engaged all the time with no driver input available. Generally, torque split is 35-65 front and rear. However, this system is dynamic and can change in mere milliseconds to adapt to ever-changing driving conditions. Interestingly, the front drive shaft runs right through the oil pan to reduce center of gravity. That's engineers at work here. The Bravada sits on an 8-inch ground clearance with an approach angle of 29 degrees, a departure angle of 23 degrees, and a ramp breakover angle of 18 degrees, but don't think that this is an off-road vehicle. Power comes from the Vortec 4200 series 4.2-liter dual overhead cam 24-valve inline six-cylinder engine. This engine is in the Atlas engine family and is of aluminum block and head construction with sequential multiport fuel injection with variable exhaust valve timing and a 10.1:1 compression ratio. This engine creates 270 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 275 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. The Bravada is no performance vehicle. Acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour happens in 9 seconds with its top speed rated at 97 miles per hour. The Bravada has a gross vehicle weight rating of 5,750 pounds with a curb weight of 4,628 pounds. This Bravada has a payload capacity of a mere 990 pounds, but can tow up to 5,600 pounds. The Bravada is equipped with an 18.6 US gallon fuel capacity and consumes a whopping 6.2 gallons per 100 miles driven with an estimated total driving range of a dismal 298 miles. EPA fuel economy figures are 14 miles per gallon city, 19 miles per gallon highway with 16 miles per gallon combined. The sole available transmission is an electronically controlled 4-speed turbo hydromatic 4L60E automatic with lock-up torque converter. Rear suspension, when new, I should say, was an electronically controlled 5-link air suspension with a solid rear axle. This suspension consists of 5 longitudinal links with a transverse link and gas-charged shocks with load-leveling air springs. The latter has since been replaced with traditional coil springs. This suspension came with a standard onboard compressor inflator in the rear cargo compartment.
Around the rear of the Bravada, not much is different from the GMC Envoy and Chevrolet Trailblazer counterparts, with the exception of the tail lamps and some of the trim. It's pretty much all body color all the way around, even in the C-pillar back here. Tail lamps are unique to the Bravada with the red, amber, and white stack treatment. Other than that, it remains pretty much similar to the rest of the vehicles. Of course, you do have the Bravada SmartTrak badge right there on the left. Rear wiper, trailer receiver hitch.
Walking along the profile of the Bravada, it's typical GM SUV from this era. It sits on a 113-inch wheelbase with an overall length of 191.8 inches. Steering is hydraulically assisted variable rate rack and pinion with 3.8 turns lock to lock and a 36.4-foot turning radius. Wheels are 17 by 7-inch silver painted aluminum 6-spoke shod in P2 45/65, are 17 Goodyear Forterra HL tires front and rear. Brakes are internally ventilated 4-wheel disc brakes assisted by ABS and traction control. Front suspension is independent upper and lower control arms with coil springs and gas-charged shock absorbers.
Alrighty, looking at the front of the Bravada, looks very much like the rest of the Oldsmobile lineup, what with the integral grille assembly here. Looks a lot like the Oldsmobile Silhouette and a little bit of the Aurora. Real quick, the side view mirrors do feature side turn repeaters. You got these really nice widened fender flares. And down here, these secondary marker lights also function as cornering lamps when the headlamps are turned on and the representative turn signal is turned on. Headlamps are housed in a chrome trim. They are clear lens halogen headlamps with the high beams in the inside part. And of course you do have your Oldsmobile grille treatment. And down below you do have projector beam fog lamps. You have the Oldsmobile logo here front and center. Overall, it's a very nice front end styling. Alright, and before we get inside, let's take a quick look at the key fob. Typical GM key fob of the era. Simple to use, lock, unlock, and your panic alarm. There's no hatch release button or remote start on this vehicle. We're going to go ahead and unlock it. There's also no smart key access system either. Alright, and opening the front doors reveals a very nice interior for the time. Even by today's standards, it's actually held up very well. Taking a look at the door trim here. Premium materials for the Oldsmobile brand. You have soft padded vinyl. Plenty of wood harvested from the plastic forest. You've got this perforated insert here as well. Black door pulls, power mirror controls up here. Window lockout switch, auto one-touch up and down for the driver and front passenger. Power locks. You've also got 2 driver memory and you have an easy exit button here as well. Padded vinyl door pulls and armrest. Down below you do have a molded mat pocket, and of course your stereo speakers. And on the driver's side instrument panel, you do have your headlamp controls, fog lamp controls, dome override, and instrument panel brightness and dim. And down in the footwell, you do have your hood release here, and 2 pedals. They are non-adjustable pedals. And here you do have your seat controls, adjustable lumbar support, 8-way power driver and passenger seat controls, and a leather-wrapped tilt steering wheel. And taking a look at the seats are very nice and comfortable. They're pretty typical of the GMC Envoy and Trailblazer counterparts. They are wrapped in the pewter leather and vinyl. They do have the seat-mounted seat belts, perforated inserts. Overall, the seats are actually very comfortable. They're very supportive, good for long journeys. Alrighty, now we're going to pan through the interior. We're going to show more details. Nice, fluid, power-assisted steering. It's hydraulically assisted. Features a leather-wrapped steering wheel with a 4-spoke design. Multi-function control buttons on all the spokes, so there's plenty to go around. Very simple though. On the left-hand side, you do have your climate control, so your temperature controls and your fan speed controls. And over here, you do have your AM/FM. You've also got your band select and your volume select. And down in these two are actually your trip computer controls, which we'll go over here pretty soon. But this is just your trip A and trip B and odometer, fuel economy. This is your multiple settings, and this is your back button. Alrighty, multifunction stalk control. Very typical of GM. You do have your cruise control here, so right now it's off. You can set it to on. The side button is actually your set, and then you can do accelerate here. Wiper washer controls, flash to pass, turn indicators, and high beam controls. And front and center, you do have a full set of analog gauges with a 7,000 RPM tach, 120 mile per hour speedometer. You have a digital LCD readout for the Prindle display and your odometer down below. And of course, over on the right hand side, you have your oil pressure, battery volts, fuel level, and coolant temperature. And yes, we are low on fuel. Currently, the vehicle has 196,915 miles at the time of this recording, and we're going to go over the trip computer controls. Using these buttons on the steering wheel, first of all, we're going to cycle through the trip menu. So it just has trip A and trip B, timer, and you can actually blank it out as well. Down below is your fuel, so range is low, average economy 14.2 miles per gallon. You also have instant economy, engine oil life, and a black screen. And then over on the right hand side, the settings. We'll just go through all the settings. And there we go. Alright, panning over the top of the dash, it is a soft padded vinyl on the driver's touch points here, but it's hard plastic at the base of the windshield. There are some stereo speakers, but as you can see, it's actually in really good shape. It's not cracked, warped, or faded. Alrighty, moving down the center stack, you do have large positional air vents at the top, and you can actually shut them on and off. AM/FM CD player with cassette player, and all the buttons are worn off. This is pretty typical of GM vehicles of this era. This is your power and volume control here, and this is your tune, recall, and program type. Tape player here, CD player up there. Get the shifter out of the way here. And down below, we do have a dual temperature control climate control. The screen cover is actually off, but you can kind of still read it. You do have your temperature controls here. You can also set your passenger controls. Fan speed control here. You can also set your mode. So panel distribution there, and auto mode. And then here you turn the system off, recirculate, air conditioning, front and rear defroster. Down here is your rear wiper washer control with your rear speed controls, 2 12-volt power points, cup holder right here for the shift lever. You do have a real handbrake and another cup holder here, padded center armrest which opens up to reveal storage. Overall, the interior of the Bravada is a very nice place to be. It's actually very quiet, very comfortable. It's a smooth riding vehicle as well. Overhead, we do have an automatic dimming rearview mirror. It does feature OnStar controls, an integral compass. Overhead, we do have the travel note system, which is really unique. You can actually record travel memos, and you can play them and delete them at your will. And then we have a 3-channel HomeLink universal garage door opener. Overhead, we do have sunglasses storage, and in this mini console here, just a larger storage console. Sun visors are nice and large, feature illuminated vanity mirrors, and the sun visors swing out, and of course they slide out on extensions. Fixed overhead assist handles, and overhead reading lights. Alrighty, let's take a look at the rear seat now. Nice wide opening doors. Nice roomy rear seat. Taking a look at the door panel, very similar in style as the front doors to create a cohesive interior design. Soft padded two-tone pewter trim, light and dark, and it's divided by additional wood harvested from the plastic forest. That perforated vinyl trim continues back here, as does the black door pulls. Your power window switches are here, and a padded armrest and door pull. No storage in the door panels, but you do have your speaker. Alrighty, let's take a look at the rear seats. The rear seats do seat 3 across. They are a 60-40 split folding seat with high adjustable head restraints on the outboard seats and 3-point shoulder belts on all seating positions. The perforated leather continues back here, and you'll note there is actually no fold down armrest back here. The seat backs do feature matte pockets on the backs of both the driver and passenger seats. And in the center console, you do have positional air vents. You've also got this really nice little radio control back here. It also features outboard individual headset controls with individual volume controls. And you've also got rear climate controls back here as well. A power point. And in here is a fold down cup holder. Alrighty, if you want to fold the seats, that's very easy. First, you need to lift up the seat bottom cushion. And while we're underneath here, we do have our fuse access back here. And our jack and tools are back here as well. But to fold the seat forward, just lift up on this handle here. The headrest will automatically retract. And as you can see, the seat back does fold flat to reveal unobstructed access to the rear load compartment. And to put the seats in the back position is very easy. Just reverse the process. Everything locks in place. And then you can put the headrest back up. Alrighty, now let's take a look at the luggage area. And first things first, we're going to look through the flipper glass. Opening the flipper glass is easy. This button right here next to the wiper unlatches that flipper glass. Now this hydraulic strut on this one is actually out, but as you can see, it does open up pretty nicely and facilitates easy loading for long items, or if you just don't want to open the entire hatch. Just let that latch in place. And if you just want to open the traditional hatch, this handle right here. Alright, as you can see, very nice large opening for the hatch area. Low bumper height means easy loading. Fully lined and fully carpeted. Features minimal wheelhouse intrusion, which is really nice. You do also have this reversible mat. It could be carpeted or this vinyl. And underneath, you do have additional storage inside this concealed well. And you can also see here, you do have tie-down hooks and 4 corners. Another nice feature, you do have some concealed storage in both sides of the trim panel. Over here you do have a 12-volt power point, and this larger bin here would actually be access for the tire inflator kit or the air compressor. The hose would actually wind up here, connect here, and you can turn your inflator here. You can turn it on and off. Alright, now let's check out the cargo area with the rear seats folded in their flat position. Alrighty, here we are. As you can see, with the rear seats folded, it does create a large storage volume here. And closing the liftgate is very easy. Just close it. Alrighty, that does conclude our in-depth walk-around review of the 2002 Oldsmobile Bravada. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and our Instagram channel at BrensoJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.